I'll stop and I'll answer any particular questions. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to thank you for taking on the job that you had. The traditional good old boy network that we've seen here for so many years, and getting things on track and having real touch with reality of what business is. And if we could have more law enforcement people in politics versus the lawyers that are definitive, the bad guys would be far ahead. Maybe you'll consider that after you finish being sheriff.
Well, I don't think the SPCA will allow you to stay in politics longer than a certain time. I think you're a masochist when you stay longer than a certain time. But I can tell you part of that problem. I've identified in the department, and let me tell you about how proud I am of this Gamble County Sheriff's Office. The men and women have really stepped up to the plate. I was concerned that I would be 18 months to 2 years before I could start some of these cultural changes that I need to change in the department for that very thing you said. And that we've always done it this way in the past. We're not going to change it. By August or September this year, for the first time since 1992, we're going to have state and national accreditation for this Gamble County Sheriff's Office, meaning that we have implemented and we will continue to do police procedures that are approved by the International Association of Chiefs of Police, which is model police standards. Most of the nation follows. The Department of Justice investigation that has been here twice, and that investigation is not complete. They looked at the Gamble County Jail and the patrol side. The comment that hurt me the worst was when they informed us that we were 20 years behind the rest of the nation in law enforcement, in transit procedures, operating instructions, those sorts of things. So we got off and down real quick on that and started working that issue. So we're going to get there very quickly. And I can tell you that the men and women got behind the issue because they take pride in this Gamble County Sheriff's Office now, and they like working there. One of the thing that I'm now the proudest of, one of the parties, and I'm going to tell you which party, ran a poll about 3 months ago on our local government, and they polled Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. They didn't just vote in a particular party, and they asked people to rank their local government, who you trusted the most, who you thought was being operated more efficiently, and public service response to the needs of the citizens, etc. And I'll tell you that this Gamble County Sheriff's Office approval rating was right at 92%. It was just off the scale. And so again, and the deputies come back and tell me that, and the citizens tell me that the courtesy that's extended to them, their response, the way they're treating citizens is so much better than it was a couple of years ago. So again, we've kind of made that turn. I didn't think we'd make that turn in about 18 months to 2 years. The only thing that tells you is that it was a lack of leadership, and it was a lack of affording the people just an opportunity to do their jobs. And that's what I mean. And by the way, on the crime side, we like to bash certain groups, and lawyers are an easy target. But I can tell you, my model for my officers is this: we lose cases because we won't lose one. If you take to the prosecuting attorney or to the prosecutor's office a case that is done by the numbers, that you follow the law yourself, and those cases become airtight. And if you don't do that, then it gives an opportunity for attorneys to work around it. So the upfront and the groundwork has to be done appropriately, and that's what professionalism will drive. That's part of that accreditation standard. Yes, sir.
With your experience in national government, budgeting, private business, the local government now for a couple of years, in concept, not the way it's been proposed so far, but in concept, consolidation in Escambia County work. Not in its current proposal, but in conceptual, in your mind, with your experience, can it work?
Well, I'll address that issue here. I addressed it yesterday at one of the Christian business men's meetings. This is the nice thing about not caring if you're a one-term sheriff. So let me say that. and I love the job, and I'd love to do a second term, but that is my approach. And let me tell you why. I will not be hampered by not doing what I believe to be the right thing. And if that means I'm not reelected, then so be it, because I'll just go do something else. The current charter that they have proposed, and now even though the city of Century has said no, the county has said no, and the city has said no, this group of people are saying that's fine. We're going to move forward with this to the Florida legislature. If you make the assumption that this group has, that the City of Century, the City Council, and the County Commission just unilaterally decided we're not going to do consolidation, you might say, you know what, I'm going to saw against the grain here because we need to get this off the dime and do what we think is right for the county as a whole. But anyone that believes that, you know, is on dope, okay? Because I can tell you that none of those people voted the way they did without speaking to their constituents. Why? Because they're looking to be reelected. And so I'm not going to vote against consolidation or for it without speaking to my constituency, because my next election would be dependent upon that. So I thought it was a little disingenuous of those folks to come out and say, well, you know, they just unilaterally decided and they're not wanting to move Escambia County forward. I'm not sure where they came up with that concept, other than it's a tremendous amount of self-interest. And that in and of itself angers me. Now, I'll speak only from the sheriff's perspective. I can't afford consolidation. I'll just be up front with you. If it was a matter of changing uniforms, where everybody goes to green and wears a star instead of the badge that the city wears, and if I was in the Empire Building, the proposal is I take the city police department, the airport police, code enforcement, etc. I'd be all over that if I was in the Empire Building. But the first question you ask yourself is it the smart thing to do? Do we need to do this, or are we just changing for change's sake? Because I can tell you what the real problem is. What the real problem is. If consolidation was the panacea for every community's economic woes, give me some. Okay, I'll take it. But if that's the case, why out of 67 counties in Florida are only 2 consolidated? Okay, Jacksonville and Miami-Dade. Now that begs the first question. The second answer to that is out of the entire United States, there's only 38 that are consolidated. Now again, if this is the panacea for economic woes of the community, give me some. Okay, I want it. I'll take it tomorrow. But that makes me believe that that's not true. So let me tell you what the real answer is. The first question they should have answered was this: why does my local government not work? It works every place else. Why is it not working here? That's the first question we should have asked ourselves. And the reason why we don't want to answer this is this. When I was at Headquarters SAC, one of my tours in the Air Force, we used to jokingly say on everybody's desk, most people had 3 boxes. You know, you had an in box, whole box, out box on everybody's desk. You know, stuff come into your office, you look at it, you put it on hold because you're working something, and then when you're ready to go, it's second down. Some people had a 4th box, okay, and that was called too hard box, okay. I just can't deal with this. It is too hard, okay. I just can't deal with the answer. It's either too political, it's going to affect my career, or whatever. I put that in the too hard box. We have put the answers that we know to be true with local government in the too hard box. And what is that? It's leadership. It's all about leadership. In the military, after an operation, we would do what's called a mission scrub. And you guys that are retired military and spent some time here know what this is. Whether the mission was a success or a failure, we went back and analyzed the whole thing. What went right? What went wrong? Okay? Who failed in their job? What worked? What didn't work? And do you know what over 90% of the time it always came back to when the mission failed? Leadership. Take a landing craft as an example, which is a joint operation between the Navy and the Army and the Air Force and everybody else. You know, LSTs. You know, when the landing craft hits the beach and the door doesn't come down and we lose a lot of troops because they can't get out of the LST, the first thing we want to blame is what? It's an equipment failure. The equipment failure. If you mission scrub that and run it back, you're going to find somewhere a logistical officer that didn't test that equipment before it was loaded on the ship, while it was on the ship en route, and just before it deployed from the ship. They didn't test that equipment to make sure that it operated appropriately. So when the troops got on it and hit the beach, the door came down. It was not an equipment failure. It was a logistical officer